How's it going, everyone? This is your boy Harley, and welcome back with another video, everyone. And today's video is actually going to be pretty different. I know I actually just came back from going out not too long ago. Me and my girl just kicking it in and all that stuff too. We're actually just chilling and all that stuff too. Sorry for a little bit of delays of videos. I stated from the last video that I will be better with uploading content, so here I am doing so too. Today's video is actually going to be something I'm going to be taking in my own hand. I know you guys are probably thinking I'm very mad boring, always be sitting in this chair right here or on that couch and thinking I don't post anything outside of that on my channel. Well, guess what? I'm going to be doing the next video. Next video, I actually want to do a post a challenge. So I'm actually going to go ahead and hold myself accountable if I don't do that. And you guys will do so as well too, is hold me accountable if I don't post the content that I promised I would. So therefore, before I go into this video, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Go ahead and put those notifications on for when the video gets posted, okay? So let's get right into it. This video is actually based on from what I've been seeing and what I've been speculated around throughout the past 2 weeks or so too. And I'll go ahead and say this though too. It's based on, the safety of doing Uber or like being an Uber driver, honestly too. Now, being the fact that I was an Uber Eats driver back in the day, delivering someone's food or traveling customers can be very hectic, honestly too. It can be very dangerous for the most part too. I can go ahead and tell you that having someone in your own personal car that you pay your own bills for the gas, the registration, the insurance, or any type of other bills, or the maintenance that you have to go ahead and pay for, or the labor. Like, I could go on and on about cars. Just for having someone in your vehicle, just for them to say they want to have the ride in your car for their own selfish reasons sometimes too. It can be extremely crazy sometimes from the stories I'd be hearing. I even go on Dustin is driving, I believe. Shout out to him for watching this video, or if he's watching this video. But I've learned a lot from him about the dangers of being an Uber driver or Lyft driver. Lyft drivers are the same as Uber drivers, but I will tell you this too. It's a dangerous situation, especially if you're just going to be making side money too. Being the fact that you have to burn your oil, your gas, your tire wear and tear, just basically your maintenance. Go ahead and take these people that don't even know the risks of driving in an Uber, and they want to hold drivers accountable. Now, granted, I come to my job and I've noted that there are some dangerous and dumb drivers that come to my job. I'm a valet supervisor. Well, actually, I'm not so much of a supervisor, but I'm like a part of the management team of my company. But for when it comes to my third-party transportation service, but in the valet department, and I go ahead and see these Ubers with these Uber signs that just come in, speed on the ramp. When they have to go like 30 miles on the ramp, their vehicles hops up and they just drop the customer up immediately instead of waiting for the vehicle that's already in front of them to go ahead and move away. Anyway, that's besides the point. The point is I'm going to go ahead into is that customers be going ahead and trying to scam drivers. They go ahead and take advantage of drivers. They go ahead and try to manipulate the driver's system to go ahead and get a free ride. So I've seen stories where there's people that actually try to go ahead and get like a ride share option, and you only get up the option of 3 people too. And when I see that, they go ahead and try to throw like 5 people in there. And then you see some of these Uber drivers that say like, hey, like you requested the ride share or the Uber X or the Lyft private one. I forgot what it was in Lyft, but I've been using more Ubers lately though too. But you see more of those Uber X's, and then it says 3 people on it. It says literally 3 people on it. And you have some of these people that say like, oh no, it doesn't show it on the app. Or, oh no, I've done Uber before. And little do they know is that it says it right on the app that it's 3 people too. And then you throw like 5 people on them. And the driver doesn't want to risk getting into the accident just for him to go ahead and say like, well, I drove in these people because they were both 4 people. And a cop is going to arrest the driver because of something that the passenger's trying to manipulate the driver to do too. So that's why a lot of arguments and a lot of fights and a lot of situations with this bad blood where Uber drivers get no protection and Lyft drivers don't get any protection becomes a very common thing. And sadly, in this poor US of A, like not poor like, oh, the USA sucks. I'm saying this poor, sad, like what USA is going through because of dumb people like this, or dumb people in general, or anywhere in the world too. Because you go and request a ride share or an Uber X, and it says 3 people on it, and then you bring your 4 children in there too, and you think that because of their half the size of actual grown adults, you think you could go ahead and slide. No siree. Like, I'll go ahead and tell you that much too. Like, I've seen videos where people try to say like, oh no, you gotta take me, you ain't gonna cancel my ride, I paid for my trip, Uber better give me my money back. The drivers do not pay. Actually, like, they don't pay to take you over there, and they do not work for Uber. They're their independent contractor, which means they signed up to be an Uber driver, but they are not an employee of Uber. Uber is not a government-based job to where you write out a W-4, get a paycheck, and then you go ahead and get a W-2 form. That's not how it works. That doesn't make you an employee for Uber or Lyft, so and so too. It's just like me as a basketball men's referee, and I do it for intramural leagues. Just because I'm a referee for a men's league doesn't mean I actually work for the men's league. I present the men's league, and I just go ahead and try to officiate, taking my time out of my own hands and make me some side money. Same way how some of these people actually put their lives on the line, becoming an Uber driver, when they had to put their gas, their car, their vehicle, or just specifically their vehicle on the risk with some accidents that might happen, a flat tire that might happen, a dead battery, a dead alternator, a lot of things you can factor in at this point then too. So being an Uber driver isn't as easy as you think, because all it takes is if you say, oh, I want to go ahead Friday night or Saturday night, and then you have that one drunk customer that can barely walk and all that stuff too. Please don't take him or her, because 9 out of 10 times they're either gonna throw up in your car, or if they do so, you're gonna go ahead and throw a $250 charge. And on top of throwing a $250 charge, like, that's gonna go ahead and probably pay for your upholstery being cleaned up, clean for any fabric or damage and all that stuff too. Either way, it's not worth it sometimes too. Even the ones that have become very hostile and they try to go ahead and dictate your situation, there have been times where, like, I've seen videos on YouTube, and I've seen passengers want to go ahead and pay for Ubers, and they want to go ahead and try to take charge of the person's radio, actually touch another person's radio, or try to use their aux cord. This ain't your personal vehicle, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to tell you something right now. You're paying your money for Uber for you to get from point A to point B. You don't pay Uber to actually use their vehicle for your own personal reasons. You're only paying Uber and complimentary tipping them, which people that don't tip are POSs. I'm just going to state that out, by the way, too. Because for the fact that people actually take the time out of their own hands, using their car to actually transport you to safety, making sure that you're given the best service possible. Sure, there might be a lot of Uber drivers, and I have encountered it in my days, and I've encountered it with me and Remy to this very day, that I've been in an Uber driver's car, and they've driven terribly. You know why I rated them? I didn't rate them 1 star, but I certainly didn't rate them 5 stars. I rated them 3 stars. Yes, I rated them 3 stars too. Because guess what? 3 stars wasn't enough for me to tip them. But guess what? And I'm very big on tipping. I tip 20%, probably more than 20%. But that's besides the point. The point is that you want to make sure that you as a passenger is safe, but you also want to make sure that you as a driver, if you're an Uber driver or Lyft driver, you want to make sure that you are safe. I'm sorry, I'm saying saved for some reason. You want to make sure that you are safe, because I'm starting to feel like that even though it's very dangerous being in the passenger seat of an Uber driver, but it's also very dangerous being the fact that you may never know who your driver is, or you may never even know who your passenger is, too. So this could go a lot of different ways. You could be the Uber driver where you see like a non-government ID name that says like, oh, Bones and something like that too. Sure, I mean, there might be some people that are actually named Bones as their official government name, but that doesn't mean that it makes it any safer, being the fact that there might be a person named Bones that is going ahead and hiding another person's Uber profile and go ahead and take advantage of their driver just for them to go ahead and take advantage. There was just an incident February 15th or 13th, between the dates of February 13th or 15th, for a woman that was so innocently had their life taken away, just for her to be thrown out like by this one guy with a mask, having a gun to her head, And all she was literally trying to do was just try to provide for her family. And she had 4 kids, and all for her life to be taken away just from doing her job. And that's the crazy thing too, is that, as I mentioned in my last video with the Tyree Sampson video, is that once we go outside those doors, it's very dangerous for what we can do outside of the house, knowing the fact that it doesn't seem as dangerous as we encounter it. But you got to keep it in mind, when we drive our cars, car accidents are still a very dangerous thing. And it's still a common thing in this day and age too. There's also the fact that there's people that are very bad at driving too, and they might smash your cars right into it too. You might also factor in that even the people that you say hi, hello to might have like a very suspect background, whether they're your friend, as a person that you met at the bar. It might be a person that you met, like that you shared the Uber with too. When it's a new person you come into, you may never know. There's a lot of things you can factor in. I'm getting off topic at the moment, but what I'm really trying to get to is that Uber drivers don't have the protection that they deserve too. Being the fact that they're taking times out of their own hand, using car within their labor, using their gas, using their tires, using their engine, using their alternator, using basically all their wear and tear, just for people to be taken advantage of. These people would be like, oh, you better take me, I'm not getting out of this car, and all that stuff too. First of all, that's not Uber's car. Let's get that out of the way. It's not Uber's car. All right? It's no one else's car but the driver's car. The driver takes the time out of his own hands to make sure that you are safe. Make sure that you get to this destination that you need to be at that point too. It doesn't make it a privilege. It doesn't make it an obligation for you to feel like that you should be treated any differently just because you as an Uber driver, you as an Uber passenger, because you pay your money, because you want to go ahead and get to the destination you need to, feel like that you should dictate yourself a certain way. The Uber driver is not your brother, your sister, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mother or dad, or etc. Those are people that are taking time out of their own hands to make sure that you get the provided protection to get you from point A to point B in their car. You're not using your car. So keep that in mind too. And it's sad because Uber doesn't try to create situations where they want you to actually be protected. They tell some Uber drivers, and I could be wrong about this because my girlfriend did actually used to do Uber, but I've actually encouraged her not to do Uber because there are times where I actually get scared for her because she hasn't done it in like a very hot minute or two. I'm not going to disclose anything about that too, but when there was a time where she was going through a job situation and she was contemplating Uber, I'll be like, babe, do not do Uber if you can't find any protection to protect yourself. Being the fact that, and I'm not generalizing women, I'm not being sexist, but being the fact that she's a beautiful young woman that's out here trying to make a living for herself, you may never know that there might be a passenger right in the car that might go ahead and take time out of their own hands to be dumb, have a gun up against her head, and then potentially try to force her to be in a situation that she doesn't want to be in just to benefit the passenger too. So it goes a lot of creepy ways, and it's sickening to me that these people that actually do this type of crap actually like do this and actually plan this stuff out, and it's premeditated for some of these people too. And why that there was this one incident where a woman who innocently lost her life trying to provide for her 4 children had her life taken away, being the fact that the woman's account holder was trying to actually transport this guy's transport over to wherever she was trying to be, and she stated that if we get caught, I'm not going to jail. Why she's not in jail is beyond absurd at that point too, because people that were involved in situations like that, even if you weren't in the car, being the fact that this guy is the boyfriend of you that killed this driver, and that we preach to this very day that Uber or any outside jobs where you're on the road is a dangerous job. And the fact that this guy's girlfriend is in jail but he is beyond absurdity, because that means even if it's not her boyfriend, it could be her next man, it could be her brother, it could be her sister. Who knows? That's how crazy this world is too. And it's crazy that we don't want to have to think of it that way, but we have to in some cases too. But it's just a crazy situation, honestly, though, too. What I can tell you, being the fact that I've done Uber Eats, I've done Postmates before. Granted, I mean, yes. And I've done Domino's delivery before, too. So I can be the first to tell you that with some neighborhoods I've been in some situations I've been in, it's very dangerous trying to put yourself out on the road going to other people's houses, not only to get their food, but you may even never know. Even you might say, "Oh, Uber Eats and Postmates is safer." It could be true, but it doesn't excuse the fact that you might go ahead and drop off their food. They might have a gun to their head, ask you for your wallet, and try to break your phone, and then try to go ahead and kidnap you, smuggle you, and then use your vehicle. There's a lot of things you can think of it that way. Probably people are probably gonna say to myself, "Harley, you're overthinking this." No, like there's probably untold stories that are not on camera right now that are being told this stuff right now too. And the thing that kills me is that these people that do Uber right now are sacrificing their lives for these dumb, ignorant people. Literally, too. Like, even the Say My Name feature, too. Like, literally, like when the Uber driver is not obligated to ask what your name is. Because you could say, like, you can even ask them the name. Let's say if the account holder's name was, like, John, and you say your name was David, I'm like, I don't have a David here. I'll be like, oh, no, John requested the Uber ride for me. I'll be like, suspect. But that's commonly to be happen. Then you could go ahead and say, oh, my name's David. And then the driver says, like, I don't have a David on this account. Oh, then it was Sherry that I requested the account. I'm like, I don't have a Sherry either. And it's like, well, what's the name? Driver says, I'm not obligated to tell you. So I'm canceling the ride. And then the passenger starts to feel like, or the person that so claims that he's a passenger feels like that, oh, no, you're obligated. I paid my money. And they're like, how'd you pay your money for the ride when you weren't the one that requested the ride? I could go on and on about this, like literally too. I could go ahead and even mention when passengers are just straight up like assholes, literally, to their drivers at this point too. And they still feel like that they're privileged because they pay their money too. It's just like with me at the hotel business. Listen, I did not fly your plane. I was not the captain of your plane. I was not the one that lands you. I was not the one that booked your reservation for a hotel just for you to come to the hotel. Just for me to see that your card is declined too. And you will go ahead and give me the attitude too. Same way when I do valet for these customers. I go ahead and still show my good attitude. But in the back of my mind, and with an inner bad conscience that tells me sometimes, but I do never, ever let that ever show to the customers. I don't ever let them show, listen, I did not drive your car. I did not fly your plane. I did not book your reservations through the hotel just for you to go inside and have obviously front desk tell you can't come in and have a room in this hotel because you have a declined card. So, same thing with Uber drivers. They did not waste their gas and mileage, and it sucks because for a ride that they didn't have the passenger in, they basically wasted their miles and their own gas because Uber does not compensate these people for, which is not really their fault, but at the same time they kind of are, being the fact that Uber and Lyft are a high platform system where gas is being used too. So what I can tell you as a person is that Uber is a very dangerous job. And the fact that some of these people have dash cams are the smartest people that you could, that on earth at this point too. They're one of the smartest people on earth, being the fact that they have a dash cam for their vehicle, based on the fact that there's dumb drivers out there too. And I'm not saying that people that don't have dash cams that are doing Uber or Lyft are dumb, but what I will tell you is that it's made their situation a lot better because they could say, oh, well, this driver said this, but the dash cam footage says this too. The camera, whether you're in public or you're being harassed or you're being in a situation you don't feel comfortable in, is your best friend, aside from calling 911 too. Because one thing I will tell you is that third eye, it's not this eye, it's not that eye, that's two eyes. That third eye, which is the one that's recording me right now, is your best friend at this point. In a lot of dangerous situations too. Specifically for reasons such as what I'm mentioning right now too. I'm even in a situation where I even told Remy that I want to get a dash cam for her. And because quite frankly, she showed me a footage of her friend. I'm not going to mention any names or details about that. But because she had a dash cam, that dash cam is the reason why that she's in a better situation to file a lawsuit against the person that crashed her car. Literally, just because she was in the right of way and this guy ran through a stop sign. If she didn't have a dash cam, the argument could have been, oh, well, no, she was speeding. And the guy thought he was clear. But maybe what the dash cam should see was like his speed was moderate. And then the car all of a sudden kind of like went through the stop sign. And all of a sudden, something's damaged. But this is the problem with society. It's just like with certain jobs. Some jobs are going to say like, oh, we don't have a budget to cover you with this. Or no, we want to do this just to do that. Like, there's so many pros and cons in certain situations too. You might say to yourself, yeah, Uber is very good side money. It seems very easy. I don't need to do this or that. I don't need to speak a lot of English. If you're sorry, if you speak English, and like, I'm not saying this to be to sound prejudiced or any some sort of way, but I've encountered even Uber drivers that don't speak a lot of English. But you know what their benefit is that they don't need to speak enough. They just need to pick up their driver from point A to point B. But you gotta also have a good sense of direction too, because then you're gonna have a person that speaks English call up, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, you're missing us," and I'll be like, "Oh, speak no English." So on. I'm going all over the place at this point too, but I'm just covering up the gray areas and the most common problems with what goes on with Uber. Yeah, sure. I mean, they're taking over taxi companies because taxis, and I don't care what people say to me about this, and because I've established in my job, but taxi drivers are one of the worst drivers that I can encounter. Especially, I've encountered ones where they've caused a lot of accidents. I've encountered ones where they try to go through any tight spaces. Is this me saying that taxi drivers are bad people? No. I just think I've encountered some where a lot of them are bad drivers at this point too. Then you have this platform where Uber, where it's supposed to be better, but then guess what? You have like these bad, terrible customers that go ahead and try to dictate stuff on their own hand, try to be controversially like unstable because they want to go be in fact like, oh no, the driver's got to pay my money back. The driver can't give you your money back. Uber's got to pay you your money back. The thing I can't stand the most is people thinking they're like, oh, you work for Uber. No, they present Uber. They're their own independent contractor because they don't have a start and end time. They're their own boss. That means that they are able to provide the service, but not be an employee for Uber. They're their own independent contract, which means they can market themselves off of Uber to be able to make money from their own hands as long as they're able to be listed within the app. That does not mean that you work for Uber. There's a difference too. So people that says, oh no, I've done Lyft and I've done Uber before too. So I know the app doesn't show 3 people on it too. I will go ahead and tell you, I've seen Uber X, it says 3 people, Uber XL, 5 people, or so on and so forth. There's like Uber Eco, where you go ahead and pay for an energy efficient car too, even then too. It's all displayed right here. Basically, what I'm going to go ahead and top this off with is that if you're going to be an Uber driver and you think about doing this as your side work, or a Lyft driver, I also got to speak for Lyft, so sorry if I haven't mentioned Lyft as much. What I will be saying to you is that you got to take measures into your own hand and think to yourself, this might be money that's coming in, but you also got to factor in what type of people are you going to come into your car. You may always have the most stable people in the world in your car that you're transporting, but you might have the nicest person in the world to ever do so too. You might think to yourself, Uber, it could be a way to make new friends and all that stuff too. But granted, you might be signing your soul to the devil when you go ahead and sign yourself to a friend where he sounds like he looks mentally stable and physically stable in terms of what he could potentially be doing, and all of a sudden the next day you go ahead and see that he's doing something to this driver, or he's done something bad on a criminal record, and it shows on the news the next day saying like, oh, he kidnapped someone. So there's a risk to play to this very day when you go ahead and take Ubers. All I can tell you is be careful when going ahead and do this. If you are going to do so, what I would say is be well protected and definitely get dash cam. Do not do Uber or Lyft without a dash cam. I feel like it's like your best friend at this point too, especially if you're going to have people in your car that you're going to take time out of your own hands to provide transportation. But anyway, y'all, that's all I wanted to point out. I appreciate you for taking time and watching this video. This is basically what I went all over the place with how crazy the Uber Lyft driving situation can be, because I live in Florida and the driving isn't so well handled here too. But just so happens that even though I'm not an Uber driver, I used to be an Uber Eats driver or a Postmates driver. Even though I don't do that stuff anymore, it doesn't discourage me for the fact that I need a dash cam, and I'm going to get one very soon. Y'all should do the same, being the fact that if you feel like that accidents are well known for being happened in your state or wherever you're at, dash cams are very well needed. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to see you all later. Holler at me later. And also, I'm sorry that we haven't posted, and the couples channel, we haven't posted any content. I can't go deep into detail as to why that is, but we're going to make sure it gets handled very shortly. Remy's not feeling too well, so please bear with us. We will be posting the content down the line. We will make sure, and it will be posted, and there will be content as the making of this video posted next week, and we promise, because we gotta make sure that she does well. We want to make sure that she stays healthy for all of you. The editing, the time that she takes for her to make sure that she provides for you guys to watch is what she does. The content, the editing, I would have never been in this situation without her. And you wouldn't be enjoying the videos, honestly, without her, being the fact that she's actually been great with the editing, that she's offered that I never asked her to do. So she's the best girlfriend I could ask for at this point. I love her so much. But anyway, I love y'all. Thank you all for tuning in. I love y'all. I hope y'all see you on next video. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. Holler at me later. Yeah.